How y'all doing? This is Mongo Slay, and today we're going to talk about NXT Halloween Havoc. So, if you do me a favor, hit the like and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. This is going to be a review. I'm not going to get into the whole nook and crannies of the whole thing, but before we get into the actual matches on the show, let's talk about the aesthetics. It had a wonderful Halloween Havoc set, or at least as close as we're probably going to get, with the big inflated pumpkin. There was different, lit pumpkins and cobwebs and tombstones, grave sites. It was really, really Halloween. They really went with the Halloween theme. I really enjoyed that. That made it fun. Okay, that made it fun. Second thing that I want to talk about is Shotzi Blackheart, who is this really interesting concoction of sexy and cringe. Like, she looked good in the outfits that they put her in. Her delivery of some of her lines and her laughing and howling and stuff was kind of cringe. Her facial expressions and stuff like that were kind of cringe. So it was like she was hot until like she talked a little too much, but they kept her to a minimum. She wasn't an overbearing host, but she looked good. Like, she had I think she was supposed to be Poison Ivy the first time, and then the second time we saw her, she was like Elvira when she had like the boobs pushed up, which was really hot. And then the third time, she was like a little devil. She had the horns, like the skin tight red suit that she was wearing. I mean, it looked good. So then we had the announcers. The announcers wore costumes. Bad News Barrett was Wade Barrett's costume. He actually just had a gavel. That was his costume. Vic Joseph was Waldo from Where's Waldo, which was perfect. I couldn't think of something that was more perfect for goddamn Vic Joseph than being Waldo. He looked ridiculous, and I loved it. It was fantastic. It was very festive. And Beth Phoenix was the Invisible Woman, because apparently she wasn't there. And her disembodied voice kept coming through the screen. So she was the Invisible Woman for Halloween. So let's get into the matches. So the first match was Damien Priest versus Johnny Gargano for the North American Championship, and Damien Priest got a live entrance. Somebody really, I don't know who, played the guitar for his entrance, and it was pretty cool. It was short, very short, but it was good. I enjoyed the live guitar. It was a nice addition to the whole thing. Damian Priest wore a Sting coat. He also wore Sting gloves. So, and we found out a little bit later that his favorite wrestler is Sting. So that was pretty cool. Johnny Gargano comes out, and he's wearing like this Nightmare Before Christmas type of jacket. So we get out of the gate that people are going to be wearing. Some people are going to be like costumed. So that was fun, festive stuff. And their match was badass. They ended up in a Devil's Playground match, which is no disqualification, falls count anywhere. So it was a fun match, really fun, really good. Match was a little too long, but Johnny Gargano is the Cody Rhodes of NXT. Now, unlike Cody Rhodes, Johnny Gargano is not a producer or an executive producer or executive vice president of NXT, which means that he's just somebody's boy. But Johnny Gargano matches are entirely too long, entirely too self-indulgent, but that's his style. It has been his style for over a year. In this instance, it was actually still a good match. There were some pretty cool spots. I don't want to go through the whole nook and cranny of it, but some of the spots that I thought were pretty interesting is, for instance, I thought we got an introduction to a new weapon, which was the collapsible baton, and I want to see that more often. Johnny Gargano had picked up a kendo stick, and it looked like he was about to go to work on Damian Priest with this kendo stick, and it turned out that Damian Priest had picked up a collapsible baton. And if you've never seen one of those things before, police sometimes have them. Often you can just buy one if you want, for self defense. So if you want to have a collapsible baton, you can actually have it. You might see it in like Daredevil or something like that, like a comic book. It just go and it's like an extended baton. And it's metallic. I think it could come in like hard plastic, but if you want to get one, you might want to get a metal one. So it was pretty cool. So I actually like that. I want to see more of the collapsible baton. I like the baton. Gargano murdered the giant pumpkin during his entrance, so he's a heel, so he has to cut open the pumpkin. They did. I mean, this was on national TV, so I don't have to go blow by blow. If it was a pay-per-view, most people might not have seen it. You can go into a little bit more detail, but I don't have to go into the detail because this was TV. But I'm just gonna give you some spots that I really liked. Well, let's talk about one ridiculous thing first. This match in the main event and a couple of other matches were they kind of went a little bit overboard with the Halloween theme. And in this match was the casket, as they traveled through the building fighting, was the casket popped open and like a dummy or something like that hopped out. And it spooked Gargano and he super kicked it. But of course he had to smack his thigh because it's a reflex. I'm supposed to believe you just kicked this dummy and it made the same sound as when you kicked Damien Priest. Like, no, I don't buy that, dog. But I did like that. I hate that it happened during the commercial. I really hate when they don't have no sense of timing. Like, wait until the picture-in-picture is over to do cool stuff. But he did a crossface using a crowbar in the picture-in-picture, which was pretty cool. It was Gargano on Damien Priest. But they had a fun match. It was good. You had Priest dominant when he at certain times and Gargano dominant at other times. So they booked them essentially 50-50, which, some people might not like because of Gargano's size. I'm not a fan of Gargano as a heel because he doesn't cheat enough. Now, he did cheat to win this match. He didn't exactly cheat. Well, he cheated, but, he wasn't cheating throughout the match to regain the advantage. Which is what you want from a small heel. You want him to rake the eyes. You want him to do low blows, hit a guy in the throat. Something to get the advantage. It just seemed like Johnny Gargano was just so good that he could just withstand Damien Priest's offense and fight back. And that's like, well, the guy is like a whole foot taller than him. You probably want to help the guy at least, and then the guy's taking a loss, so you should help him out. Back off, beg off. I think Johnny did a little bit of that. But he should have did more of it and, did some cheap shots, hit him in the throat, eye rake, stuff like that. And I get that they try to book Johnny Gargano as if he's a huge star. So I get it. I'm not gonna complain about it too much. So the finish, I actually was kind of miffed on the finish. For people who might not have seen it, Johnny Gargano was down and out. They had climbed the set to where the wheel is. It's like a perch up there, and it's like a flat space, so Shotzi Blackheart won't fall on as she's walking in her heels. And then somebody, masked man, attacks Damien Priest with like a pipe. Boop, hit him in the head with a pipe, and we're like, oh no, what's going on? And then the masked man disappears for a little while, and he comes back with like this piece of the set. It's like a tombstone, like a tombstone from the set. And he gives it to Johnny Gargano, who turns around and waylays Damien Priest. Damien Priest falls from the perch onto the floor, and Johnny Gargano crawls down and pins him 1, 2, 3. Now, the reason I didn't like this finish is because we just got Masked Man interrupts the match the previous week when they did the Pat McAfee thing. And that factors into the next segment, by the way. Because you have Pat McAfee did the promo next. But I didn't like that. I just felt like it was doing the same thing all over again. Now, I am interested because it does seem like they're doing this. The Garganos are going to be mentors to younger talent. And maybe this is going to be the person Johnny Gargano is going to mentor. Because I guess, they had those promos where Indy Hartwell was sort of helping Candice. Strange, considering, but we'll get there in the main event. But it seems like this might be Johnny's mentee or his protege who helped him win this match. And I have no idea who it could be. But it should be fun anyway. I like mysteries. I just don't like the fact that they just did this. They just did the unnamed person interrupts and costs the guy the title. I wasn't a fan of that. So the next segment was Pat McAfee Only Lorcan and Danny Burch. I had a brain fart for a minute. Pat McAfee cut this amazing promo. He is really good at promos. Pat McAfee is incredible. And this whole angle that they're doing here is great. It's not great for people who are fans of wrestlers of size, because everybody in this joint is small. Okay. But, and most of them are smaller than McAfee. But this is a good, solid storyline. So Pat McAfee he's aggrieved that he had this great debut match against Adam Cole. He went out there, gave it his all, and Adam Cole did not show him any respect. And Adam Cole just sort of brushed him to the side. And he's like, I would have handled Adam Cole myself, but I got all this successful stuff going on. He's got like a podcast and a YouTube channel, and he's got all this other stuff that he's got going on. And he's really got the gift of gab. Like, he's really kind of arguing with the fans, and he really slick. I really like McAfee now. Like, he won me over. But he's talking about like how he had all this stuff going on. And because he had all this stuff going on, he didn't have time to deal with Adam Cole. So he made a phone call to Ridge Holland, like, hey, you want to make some money? And he said Holland didn't want any money. He just wanted a car. He's like, what kind of car? I'll get you the car you want. So he is the reason that Ridge Holland attacked Adam Cole. We explained that, okay? That's been explained. And then we find out that, he didn't expect for Oney Lorcan to blow out and destroy Ridge Holland's leg. He wasn't looking forward to that. But we also found out that he tried to recruit Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch before that. So he's like, I tried to hire these guys, tried to bring them in, but they were honorable men. They couldn't sell out. They said they refused to sell. But then after they lost the number one contenders match to Undisputed Era, they said they came back to him and said, let's talk. And then since Ridge Holland was out and injured, he decided to go with Lorcan and Burch and bring those guys into the fold. I don't know what the group is going to be called yet, but I really enjoyed that idea. I loved it as McAfee is their mouthpiece. He is the guy that's going to help them get over, because Lorcan and Burch, neither one of them are, Lorcan is great on Twitter because he types in all caps with absolutely no punctuation whatsoever. But I don't know about him in person. But, after he goes through this, they're going to destroy Undisputed Era, all this type of stuff. Kyle O'Reilly comes to the ring. And Kyle O'Reilly is the only member of Undisputed Era that's still standing. Remember, they took out Fish and they took out Cole. Ridge Holland took out Cole. Unknown people took out Fish and Strong. So O'Reilly comes to the ring by himself. And then you think he's by himself. And then here comes Pete Dunne from NXT UK. Now, a lot of people might not be too excited about this, but I'm a big fan of Pete Dunne, when he's not being cringe, which is more often than I want it to be. But Pete Dunne is a great worker, great mechanic, another guy who probably needs a personality with him. And Pete Dunne comes to the ring and he's got 2 chairs. And he gives one of the chairs to Kyle O'Reilly, and Kyle O'Reilly and Pete Dunne get in the ring, and they're going to take care of this threesome of Lorcan, Burch, and McAfee. And then out of nowhere, Pete Dunne waylays Kyle O'Reilly with the chair. And I was like, fuck. I was immediately bought in. Immediately. Because Pete Dunne has not been a heel since 2017. It's been a while. Like, he started in NXT UK as a heel, but he turned babyface during that really long title run that he had. And I see that NXT is the place where they're going to start sending people who are really pretty much done with NXT UK. They're going to send you to NXT, which makes sense. It's a step up. NXT UK, as good as it is still sort of in the dark. It's a network only, behind the paywall. You have to pay for the network in order to watch it. And then very few people watch it. Like, very few people watch NXT as it is, and then fewer of them watch NXT UK. So, but I love Pete Dunne. I think Pete Dunne is great. And then these 3 guys, they work over Kyle O'Reilly. Pete Dunne bending his fingers and, they stomping him and hitting him with chairs. It was really a really thorough ass kicking. And I love this because for a long time, there was no competition for Undisputed Era. There were no other factions in NXT. During late 2019, the Undisputed Era started getting into it with Imperium, Walter's group. And that was something different because, again, for the first time, it was really another group that could stand against Undisputed Era. But since then, there have not been any factions to stand against Undisputed Era. But now there is. Now you've got this Lorcan, Birch, Dunn faction of mechanics that are really tough. That's all of their gimmicks are essentially the same. They fit together. They're all tough guys, and it seems to be that Pat McAfee is recruiting people from NXT UK. Because Ridge Holland is also from NXT UK, and so is Danny Burch. Now I think only Lorcan is from the United States, but he wrestled for a long time in NXT UK because he and Burch were a tag team in NXT UK. And of course, Dunn is been champion for 400 days or some nonsense like that in NXT UK. So that seems to be what we're doing here with Pat McAfee is we're bringing in people from NXT UK, people who need a personality with them, but people who have grappling and physical as part of their normal repertoire, and bringing them in to be the weapons of Pat McAfee. And I really enjoy that. I think that's going to be really fun. It just sucks that Ridge Holland is hurt, because I really kind of want to see what the group looks like all together. And if this is it, if it's just going to be these four guys, because Ridge Holland, who knows how long he's going to be out. So we don't know if that's going to be just these four and Pat McAfee, or are they going to add more people. So I'm interested. I'm really interested. It's hot shit for me. If you're a person who watches NXT UK, if you're a person who's like, oh, everybody's in this group is 5'5" or 5'6", then you're probably not going to like it. But for me, I'm interested because all of these guys are about the same size anyway. Undisputed Era is small. All of these guys are small. It's going to be a work rate thing. And I'm all for that 100%. And it was really good in the otherwise goofy episode of NXT, which is a little goofier than usual. Well, far goofier than usual. And to be quite honest, it was a almost complete 180 from the previous week where you had Timothy Thatcher doing Thatch Can, Stu Hart in the dungeon stretching guys. It's almost a complete 180 because in this joint you got we'll get there. We'll get there. So the next match that took place was Santos Escobar versus Jake Atlas. This match was very, very short. They gave these guys almost no time. This match was probably 5 or 6 minutes. Santos Escobar was dressed like Rey Mysterio from Halloween Havoc 97. Interesting choice. Interesting choice at that. Jake Atlas is still in the phase of NXT where he's known and he's given mat time, but he's eating shit. And people don't understand this. I know a lot of people are like, oh, he was such a big deal on the independents. It's like, that's why Triple H brings these guys in and forces them to do jobs for a year. Like, he did it to Kushida. Like, he's doing it to everybody. He did it to Swerve. He did it to Adam Cole. He did it to Johnny Gargano. He did it to Tommaso Ciampa. He brings these guys in, and essentially they eat shit for months. And then he gives them the mega push. Once he finds out, once he gains the respect of the roster and respecting the process and all this type of stuff. So Jake Atlas is still in that spot where he came in highly touted. A lot of people was interested in what he was doing, and who he is, because him being the first out gay wrestler in WWE, male. What's the name? I think Darren Young was out, so it wasn't that. I think maybe he was the first one that they knew was gay when they hired him. Let's put it like that. Because nobody knew Darren Young was gay when they hired him. And nobody knew Chris Kanyon was gay either. So it was this big ordeal about Jake Atlas being gay. Neither here nor there. But the important thing is he came with, some steam behind his name. So he's in his eating shit stage. So when he basically just got dogged out. It was still a decent match. He got to hit his finish on Santos Escobar. Santos Escobar had not just the Rey Mysterio thing, he also had the Day of the Dead, half of his face painted. The other members of Legado del Fantasma had half their face painted too. And even though he did lose, and he did lose rather quickly, Jake Atlas did get to hit his finish, and Legado del Fantasma cheated to put Santos Escobar's foot on the ropes, and they cheated to beat him. I think it was Raul Mendoza who put on the loaded mask and headbutted Jake Atlas, and then Santos Escobar was able to hit the double underhook face smash for the win. So Jake Atlas might be something a little bit later. I need something more out of him as far as intensity is concerned. He gave he was a little bit fiery in the Tommaso Champa when him and Tommaso Champa was having their friction. He looked good then, but he really just kind of got beat pretty fast in that match too. So he got a spark. There's something there. It's not like he's nothing, but they're not emphasizing him just yet. They're gonna give him time. So let's get into this Dexter Lumis. Before we get into the Dexter Lumis thing, because I want to talk about all of that together. Let's talk about Rhea Ripley and Raquel Gonzalez. This match was better than it should have been, because Raquel Gonzalez is somebody who had never had a singles match of any real description. And she probably, like some dweeb probably remember she had some match. It was some throwaway singles match she had, a long time ago. But as far as a match that got to showcase what she can do, she hasn't had that. And this was that, and she did really good. She's still kind of green, obviously. They kept her offense to a minimum. She didn't have to do anything too complex. But Raquel Gonzalez is good, and Rhea Ripley is fantastic. Rhea Ripley can wrestle pretty much with anybody. So she really much, at 23, she was able to carry Raquel Gonzalez to a pretty damn good match, better than it had any reason to be. Raquel Gonzalez is 6 feet tall. Just tell me, man, give her to Vince, and he'll turn her into like something amazing. I just have a feeling that if she can walk without tripping over herself, I think Raquel Gonzalez could be a star with Vince McMahon behind her. With Triple H, I don't know, but Vince McMahon definitely. She could be like the next China, but she's not as muscular as China. But I think Vince could get her in the gym, get her on a, and she get the abs and all that type of stuff. It'd be amazing. But I enjoyed this match. They both was really aggressive. They were both really aggressive. They wrestled like two big women wrestling, and I think that Raquel was I think she's 2 inches taller than Rhea Ripley. So they was telling the story about, 2 tall women who usually don't wrestle women of their own size. So how are they going to adjust? And, it was basically like Raquel Gonzalez got to be, Diesel. She got to be Sid. She got to be like the big woman who can do like all these big physical moves, and her clotheslines looked really good. Like when she bumped Rhea Ripley in some of these clotheslines and stuff like that, she looked really good. And I really enjoyed it. She did this really cool move. It was kind of like Jeff Cobb's Tour of the Island, which is like his kind of a power. I guess you could call it a power slam, but Raquel Gonzalez kind of did a reverse version of it, and I think that would have been a dope finish for her. I don't know what her actual finish is. I have no idea. I know she picks people up and she slams them a lot. that's all I know as far as Raquel Gonzalez's moveset. And it was interesting because Dakota Kai didn't come out with Raquel Gonzalez. So, but it was good. Rhea Ripley won the match. Made sense. Rhea Ripley was the right person to win. She's the one that they're pushing. Raquel Gonzalez still has some time, and this could be fun. They could actually do this again. It was a fun match. I enjoyed it. I really wasn't expecting to, because Raquel is so untested and inexperienced and green, but everything turned out pretty good. And maybe it's the lower standards that I had for this match, but I enjoyed it and got nothing to complain about. It was good stuff. Now let's talk about this Cameron Grimes versus Dexter Lewis House of Horror match. That was it. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. Okay. So, Cameron Grimes is at the Capitol Wrestling Center, and he is scared out of his wits he's like, Mr. Regal, The ring is in the Capitol Wrestling Center, Mr. Regal. Don't you want to have a wrestling match? And William Regal's like, no, I don't. Afraid I don't. And he tried to put him in his van. He pulled up this white van. It looked like it kidnaps kids. He might as well put free candy on the side of it. Like, it looked like one of those pedophile vans. And he's got to get in this van to go to the undisclosed location to fight Dexter Lumis. And he opens the van. For starters, there's some creep in the shotgun seat. For starters, if you're going to be in a scary van, you don't want to sit. People can get behind you. You don't want to do that. So he opens up, and goddamn Michael Hayes hops out wearing a fanny pack, singing Bad Street. Oh my God. I'm not gonna lie, man. I haven't seen Michael Hayes on screen in a long time. So I laughed, but it was over the top. And he gets into the van. They drive to the undisclosed location where Cameron Grimes, and he's scared. And he comes out of this van glistening. I'm talking, his face is shiny, his chest is shiny. I'm like, why is this guy so shiny? Is he supposed to be sweaty? Like, is that what they're trying to tell me? They're trying to tell me he's sweaty? I don't know. But he's walking through this neighborhood. He comes up to this house, and he's looking for Dexter Lumis. He wants to get it over with. He's trying to, he was cartoonishly scared. This is the kind of stuff I think I was talking about in the Sue Young. If you listen to my Bound for Glory review, I said that, the Sue Young Deonna Purrazzo match about Deonna Purrazzo being scared initially and then she settled down. That never happened in this match. It was like Cameron Grimes was scared from the first segment all the way to the end. He was annoyingly, cartoonishly scared. It's the one thing that I do not like about what WWE does with fear-based characters, is they have their opponents just be petrified to the point where they have no earthly way of ever settling down and getting used to their surroundings. Right? You would think that if you have to wrestle this guy, it's going to be weird. I mean, now with Cameron Grimes, they did kind of keep reintroducing new things to be scared of, so it made sense in that respect that he was not able to settle down. Because every time he kept trying to, let's just talk about it. But Dexter Lumis is hiding in the tree. Cameron Grimes doesn't see him. Cameron Grimes comes into the house. He's looking for Dexter Lumis. He's threatening to beat him up and all this type of stuff. And then he goes into this room and a bike goes by with nobody riding it. And he's like, and this was great. He's like, Dexter Lumis, you got kids? I was like, what the fuck? Oh shit. Okay, I laughed at a lot of this shit. You have to laugh at this shit. If you don't think this shit was silly as hell, man, I don't know what to do. Look, the worst thing you can be on TV, you can be cringe, you can be terrible. Cringe and terrible is at least somebody's gonna get a laugh out of that shit. But you can't be boring. This was not boring. Okay, so he asked the man if he had kids. Of course, he didn't get no answer. They fight at some point because Dexter Lumis appeared out of nowhere like a zombie out of Resident Evil. He's popping out of the windows and all this type of stuff. So Cameron Grimes locks himself in the bathroom, and there's somebody in the shower. And then he delivers another one of my favorite lines. I could not. Like, taking this seriously was just no way. There was just no way. So it started as a House of Horrors match, and it's cinematic. So they're doing cinema style here with this whole thing. And he's like, Dexter Lumis, I ain't know you had a sister. What do we got here? And he slid out of his vest to think he's going to get into the shower with this woman. Oh, it's so stupid. It is incredibly stupid. And I can just imagine the SJWs that are probably blew their lid at this. Oh my God, he's going to rape that lady. Like, no, he's being a pervert and a weirdo. It's like, that's funny. I'm sorry. It's funny. And he goes to pull back the curtains because he thinks he's about to get in here with this Dexter Lumis' sister. And it's like a monster lady. It's like a monster zombie lady. And he spazzes out and he runs. So he runs away. It's so stupid. It's so stupid, but it's like it's supposed to be reminiscent of the scene from The Shining, where the naked lady in the tub, and then when when he's kissing the naked lady or whatever, and she turns into a monster. It's basically that, and it's basically just every scene that he goes into is either Dexter Lumis trying to kill him, or it's zombie ladies trying to attack him, and all that type of stuff. He's got put in the triangle choke. He ended up escaping. He actually hit Dexter Lumis a few times. He spin kicked him. He didn't get much offense in. Let's put it like that. He didn't get a lot of offense in, but he was able to fight off Lumis a bunch of times, and he ran around scared for, I don't know, 10 minutes maybe. It was nutty. It was absolutely nutty. So then he finally gets out of the house after this crazy lady tried to take him down, put him in a sleeper hold. He got out of the house and he decided to run. So Dexter Lumis, not Dexter Lumis, but Cameron Grimes. No, he tried to get into the van. He tried to get back into the van to go back to the Capitol Wrestling Center, and only to find out that Dexter Lumis is driving the van. So he gets out of the van and he runs barefoot, shirtless down the street. It was the stupidest shit I'd ever seen. And then they come back a little bit later, and he's still running because this was in multiple spots. Like they had the House of Horrors, and then it went to commercials. Had To Be Continued, and they had the Rhea Ripley and match, and then they came back to this at the end of the Rhea Ripley match, with Cameron Grimes gets back into the ring. I mean, they did a bunch of other stuff too, but we'll get to that in a second. And then he gets back to the Capitol Wrestling Center, and he thinks that he's safe. He escaped the haunted house of terror. Dexter Lumis has to leave him alone now. And then he makes his way to the ring area, where the ring area is full of smoke. And it was like the smoky ring area. Dexter Lumis appears again. And that's, Dexter Lumis is like commanding an army of zombies. Now, he's not commanding them. He's just standing there staring. But the zombies are clearly after Cameron Grimes. And he is scared shitless of these zombies. And they're in the ring. It's like a lumberjack match with the zombies outside the ring. It was like 6 zombies. It was like 6 zombies trying to eat Cameron Grimes. It was so fucking stupid. It was so stupid. It was fun stupid though. Like it was not. It's like they took the Halloween theme and just turned it up to 30. Right? Just said fuck it. We just gonna go full born with the Halloween theme. Fuck it. And Dexter Lumis just did Dexter Lumis stuff. He didn't act out. He didn't, turn the volume up on the character at all. He just did staring Dexter Lumis stuff and punches and chokeholds. That's pretty much all he did. So then they get into the ring. Dexter Lumis beat him up, choked him out, and then left him for the zombies to eat him. Which apparently, I don't know if they ate him or not. To be continued on whether Cameron Grimes got eaten by zombies. Jesus Christ. That shit was ridiculous, dog. It was ridiculous. Like, it was like I just kept sitting there watching that shit. I had like my head in my hands, but I couldn't take my eyes off the screen because I was like, it is so absolutely absurd. And I'm probably going to end up having to watch it again. I should have watched it twice before I did this video because I probably would have wanted to go into more detail. But Dexter Lumis being the zombie master, okay, man. He has zombie sisters. All right, whatever. I don't know what to tell you. Okay, before we get to Candice LeRae and Io Shirai, which was the main event of the show, and I don't take NXT, pushing women as the main event. I don't take that the wrong way. I mean, I want it to. I want it to be like, what is about this match is main events, but at the same time, both of the 2 big matches on this show were rematches. Johnny Gargano and Damien Priest was also a rematch. But this match ended up earning its main event spot. But we ended up, there was some more background stuff. Drake Maverick was dressed like Hulk Hogan. He was doing What You Gonna Do. He was dressed like Hollywood Hogan, by the way. And they were doing a WCW skit. So he was dressed, Drake Maverick was dressed like Hulk Hogan, pretending to be Hulk Hogan. Some guy came out of nowhere. He's dressed like the Giant, the Big Show, the Giant, Paul White, the Giant. And another big guy comes out of nowhere, and he's the Yeti. And they reenact Hogan getting crushed by the Yeti or humped, depending on your perspective on this situation of Hulk Hogan getting humped by the Yeti and the Giant. And then here comes Killian Dane, and he's dressed like the Shockmaster. He got the Shockmaster helmet on, and he's hairy as fuck. And then of course, Drake Maverick's giving Killian Dane a hard time for not wanting to play along and be in the festive Halloween mood. But it was really weird, man. That was really insane. But something that wasn't weird, something that was very, very good. Tommaso Ciampa's promo was badass. So Tommaso Ciampa does this promo where he's talking about NXT. He's talking about NXT has changed. That, the letters are the same, logo, colors, all that type of stuff is the same, but the locker room has changed. And that, now there's a sense of entitlement. That everybody's complaining about not getting the brass ring, not being given an opportunity. He says, like, basically the hungry dog eats. If I'm hungrier than you, I eat. And that we need to go back to that. That's what NXT needs to be. It needs to go back to that. And how he fought and scratched to be the best professional wrestler in the world. And that he made himself undeniable. And that's kind of a Cody Rhodes line. But he said, I made myself undeniable. And he's talking about how NXT needs to go back to the way that it was. And then he basically said that his first victim is going to be the Velveteen Dream. So next week is going to be Velveteen Dream versus Tommaso Ciampa, as well as Dakota Kai versus Ember Moon. And I like both of those matches. Both of those matches are very good. Tommaso Ciampa and Velveteen Dream are both heel versus heel. A little weird. But that match should main event the show. But it's probably going to open the show because Triple H has this thing about women main eventing. So it ought to be pretty good. But this match, this main event match, was good. Candice LeRae versus Io Shirai in a tables, ladders, and scares match, of which they only pulled one really silly gimmick. There was a severed head and some severed limbs and a bag under the ring. So when Candice LeRae pulled out a table, there was like a bag on top of it, and she spread the bag out, and it's like a head and some limbs and stuff in it. And she slapped Io Shirai with one of the severed hands and stuff like that. There's a lot of building in this match. I also liked how they were real festive with this thing. They didn't bullshit, when it comes to the Halloween theme. The tables were designed with crime scene chalk lines on it, so you had bodies on it that had been outlined in chalk. Those were on the table, and those were pretty cool. And they actually used everything. They used tables, they used ladders, they used chairs. So it was fun. It was a nice precursor. Poppy played Io Shirai to the ring. Not Io Shirai. Yeah, Io Shirai. Poppy played Io Shirai to the ring. I don't know why you pay these people to show up, and all she did was really just walk that short ramp to the ring. Like Io Shirai, and then they didn't play Io Shirai's normal theme. So it was cool. But it was a good match. There was some good spots in there that I really liked that didn't involve construction. For instance, Io Shirai captured Candice LeRae's foot with a chair, and then she spent the chair like you put a chair in a vice and you spin it. Candice LeRae didn't sell it for long, but that could have been a really good spot. That could have led into something in the end. But I really enjoyed that spot. That spot was really fun. It was some really cool stuff. There was a neck breaker through 2 tables. And then near the end, the masked wrestler returned. The masked wrestler, after Candice LeRae did a neck breaker on Io Shirai through the 2 tables, the masked wrestler started trying to help Candice LeRae climb the ladder to win the titles. and Shotzi Blackheart left her perch, where she was spinning the wheel to make the deal, and she ran down to the ring and she fought off the masked wrestler, which makes sense. Because she's a babyface, and these people are cheating, and they had cheated earlier. So Candice LeRae, was injured from putting herself through the table and all the other spots she had done. They actually did a good job of selling all that stuff. And as they get to the top, as Candice LeRae gets to the top, Io Shirai, wakes up and tries to stop her. They fight at the top of the thing, and Candice LeRae like eye gouges Io Shirai or something like that and pushes her off the ladder. Io takes a bump, and then she's up really fast because she has to be. Like she fell from like the probably upper midway point of the ladder, which should have been a finish, but she had to get up fast. So she got up and she pushed the ladder. Candice LeRae falls from the top of the ladder through another ladder that she had set up outside the ring because they was constructing stuff. And that was the finish. Io Shirai won the match, and the masked wrestler failed to help Candice LeRae win the women's championship. And now, you know what? It was a pretty good match. It was a fun match. I enjoyed it. There's nothing really to complain about except for the fact that I really did think Candice LeRae was going to win. So now the question becomes, what do you do with Candice LeRae? You can't have her wrestle for the title again. So what do you do? Do you try to move her to the tag team division? Have Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell, who I'm guessing, the masked wrestler is too big to be Indy Hartwell, so it's not her. But Indy Hartwell is pretty well known for being Candice LeRae's help in these matches before. So maybe it's somebody Indy Hartwell hired. So what are you gonna do with Candice LeRae now that she's lost the title? She's failed to win the title for the third time or something like that. And I don't know what that question is. Now Io Shirai still has she's got Toni Storm and Ember Moon to think about. So you have good options with her. You pretty much got nothing with Candice LeRae. You still had Toni Storm and Io Shirai and Rhea Ripley and all those, the same women that could wrestle. Io Shirai could wrestle Candice LeRae, but now that Candice has already lost, what is her next move? What is her next position? And I think that kind of leaves it open-ended because we know that she's about to do something with Indy Hartwell, but we don't know what. And but NXT they've been doing a good job. They gave, it was a nice spot. So let's get into my final thoughts. All right, so my final thoughts into the show. It was a great show. It was fun. It was definitely kooky. It was definitely goofy in a lot of spots. That House of Terrors thing was absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. And it kind of reminds you that WWE does want to cater to children, but I appreciate the effects of it. They did not skimp out on like spending money on this show. So I appreciate that. They spent the money. They went and got live instrumentation. They had a cinematic match. They threw everything at this. And they probably still won't crack 1 million viewers. It'd probably still lose to AEW, if we're being honest. But that's not the point. The point is they put on a pay-per-view worthy TV show that was very fucking good. It was very good. But my one gripe that I will say is that we need to get out of the cosplay conception of wrestling. We need to stop getting guys to dress like other wrestlers. Like Santos Escobar dressing like Rey Mysterio. Damien Priest dressing like Sting. Why remind me of legends? Don't remind me of legends. Remind me of you. Like, show me you. Like, I can see Sting on the network. And if you like, I see that people doing that all the time now, where it's like constantly with the references to other wrestlers who are already gone. And, like Damien Priest especially, because they just did this Razor Ramon thing with him. Or was it Shawn Michaels with the jacket at TakeOver? It was one of the two. It's like, we get it, man. Like, I don't want to be reminded that marks are in the ring. Okay, that's the one thing that I have with this show. Don't remind me that everybody is a mark. You know, be above. You know, it's cool if you want to take pictures with your friends of you, you know, dressing up like other wrestlers and stuff like that. But don't remind me that marks are in the ring. You know, and you should be a step above. You should be trying to establish yourself. And it's fun for a one off, you know, for Santos Escobar. Hopefully it's a one off and he don't have to do this again. And plus it fits into his gimmick because his whole gimmick is that he's the king of lucha libre or the emperor of lucha libre or whatever. So it fits into his whole gimmick. I think he also wore a mask too. But we need to tone down the wrestling cosplay. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. Not just in NXT, but AEW too, and all over the indies. I'm sick of that shit. I'm sick. I just saw Tommy Dreamer dressing like Animal from the Road Warriors. I only give it a pass because Animal died. Otherwise, I am sick and tired of homages and taking on the appearance of a legend. Don't do that. We need to stop it. It is just stop. Just stop it. Don't remind me of legends. Be a legend. That's what I want. I want people to establish their own star power, you know, or forever be in the shadow of the people that you're emulating. I don't want that. I want people to be stars. All right, so like the video again if you enjoyed the video. Share the video if you enjoyed it, if you think that is worth sharing. And subscribe to the channel. I'll do better next time. Donate to the channel if you can. $5 or $10 will really go a long way. You can please comment. Let me know what you thought of this show. Show me what you thought of my review. I have actually been tinkering around with this format, trying to get my graphic design game together, learning how to make better videos and stuff like that. The videos that are also easier for me to make, and it helps me keep my my thought process together. If you got any questions, any ideas, send them to Mr. Slade 84. That's Mr. Slade as one word, MRSLADE 84, the number 8 and 4 at gmail.com. And thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for your time, and I'll talk to you guys later.